cementing the notion that the police state was built for the people. They've been conditioned for slavery by TSA pat-downs, body scans, and other invasive and unconstitutional searches of airline passengers. But now that's expanded into bus passengers and highway checkpoints. The system will never admit the truth that's plainly in front of us. It's simply too invested in the lie. But the truth will come out through tireless research and persistent efforts. It already has in so many thousands of documents filed through Freedom of Information requests and in the hundreds of professionals in media, government, military, and other areas who've blown the whistle on their part of the schemes. The truth about 9/11 has a dangerous parallel to the JFK assassination. Even as more and more of the truth came out and new investigations were done, including several within Congress itself, the government still stuck by the official lie established by the Warren Commission. And if we don't stand up now, the same thing's going to happen with this terrible and tragic event. Meanwhile, we must never stop seeking the truth and demanding answers. Eventually, we will win. I'm Aaron Dykes reporting for InfoWars Nightly News. Alex, back to you.
Great job, Aaron. And that's just a small portion of the smoking gun facts of 9/11. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And yeah, it's scary to stand up against these murderers. A lot of people say, well, if it's all true, why are you and Richard Gage and so many others still alive? Jesse Ventura. Because if they kill us, it underlines, it highlights, it underscores everything we've said and done. It makes us martyrs. No, they'd rather just call us tinfoil hat-wearing people because we know the true history. And now we see NATO working with al-Qaeda and handing over Libya to them and billions of dollars and heat-seeking missiles. And in a couple of years, when they attack us or take the blame for an attack, I'll be on air saying, look, our government helped put them in power in Libya. And people will go, be quiet, conspiracy theorists. And I'll go, no, here's 50 news clips. Here's the articles. They'll just say, be quiet, un-American. And the biggest issue is they're now rebranding the threat of al-Qaeda onto anybody that resists corruption, anybody who is a true American and loves the Bill of Rights and Constitution. Now, Richard Gage is coming up, the head of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, to give us his take on 10 years later. But first, I want to go to this report filed by Rob Jacobson behind the camera and Darren McBreen, our reporter, out on the street. We talked to quite a few people, and Darren has told me that all of them but one, and that person could hardly talk, said that it was a controlled demolition or looked suspicious. Here is this powerful report.
Thank you, Alex. I'm Darren McBreen for InfoWars Nightly News. We're here at the University of Texas in Austin just days before the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and we're wondering how many people are aware that there was a third tower that fell, Building 7, which was not hit by a plane, but collapsed demolition style at 5:20 p.m., many hours after the first two towers fell. What are your thoughts when you see that? This was not hit by an airplane. It collapsed many hours after the first two towers fell.
I mean, it sort of looks like a planned demolition, but it could also be a lot of other things.
Oh, wow.
Have you ever seen that video before?
I have, actually. It was, this is weird, but it was one of those conspiracy videos I saw, but yeah, it was pretty crazy, the video I saw. It just, like, dropped straight down.
Have you ever seen the video before?
Not at that building, no. No.
Do you find it interesting that it was not featured in the 9/11 Commission report?
It wasn't featured at all? That is interesting. That is interesting. And it looked, it was a very controlled blast, it seemed.
What are your thoughts when you see that building go down like that?
I don't really know what happened to it. I don't think anyone, the government probably wouldn't tell us.
I'm actually in the College of Architecture as a grad student and have seen several demolitions, and it does look completely controlled.
I mean, it looked like a controlled demolition. It didn't look like the explosion happened from, one side, coming in or anything like that. It looked like it kind of happened from the bottom and just kind of imploded on itself.
Is that the first time you've seen the video?
Yes, definitely.
That's the first time I've ever seen that, yeah.
This is my first time actually hearing about Building 7, so, that tells you how much they've covered it, but that's very weird. It really looks like a demolition implosion.
I don't remember seeing it at all. I remember watching both the second tower collapse live, and I don't remember hearing or seeing anything at the time about that.
As most of the InfoWars audience is aware, World Trade Center leaseholder Larry Silverstein gave the okay to pull the building moments before Building 7 collapsed. BBC's Jane Stanley even reported Building 7's collapse minutes before the event actually happened. And you can even see Building 7 clearly behind her as she gives the report.
Yesterday I watched a video where a news lady was talking and she said the third building just fell. But behind her, the third building had not fallen yet. So that's weird.
Jane Stanley.
You saw that then, yeah.
Oh, of course, of course.
Like, she's like, oh, it fell down and it's still behind her.
You would think that she would wait till it fell, even if she had insider information that the thing was going down. She has some sort of ESP.
There are currently close to 1,500 architects and engineers who are saying that it was indeed a controlled demolition.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of thing where we need some sort of investigation, you know, and if the government isn't going to do that sort of investigating, then we need a third party to step in and, you know, have the authority and the resources to do that.
I mean, like a lot of people, you know, question the Warren Commission. That doesn't make all of them kooks or conspiracy theorists.
What do you feel about losing a lot of our civil liberties since 9/11?
It sucks. You know, you have, you know, people that can invade your phone calls and text messages and emails, and so you really don't have any privacy, and that really scares me.
You know, so I think that 9/11 was sort of the Trojan horse for all that sort of policy to come in.
If you notice, there's free speech zones. We can only free speech in certain areas now. So yeah, it's almost like everything that we once had is slowly shrinking.
Is it worth it to make us more safe, to lose our liberties?
No, certainly not. I mean, you know, 9/11 was a terrible event, but in terms of the things that have happened since then making us more safe, I'd say that's the other side of the coin.
Do you think there needs to be a new investigation into September 11th?
I don't think it would hurt. I don't know how much we would know about it or, again, maybe how unbiased it would be, but I think it always is something that is interesting to look at further.
I think America should demand a new investigation.
Definitely be interesting to see things that I'm sure the government didn't want the public knowing at the time.
The only way to get to the bottom of it is to do more research.
I honestly believe the government's corrupt. Everyone lies. I don't think people should just put all their faith and trust in a government who is just completely selfish and only worrying about themselves.
10 years after 9/11, we could see that much of the public is aware that they're not being told everything there is to know about the tragic events of that day. The mainstream media, however, continues to avoid discussing Building 7. Instead, they insist on pushing the official fable and ridicule any American who demands a new investigation. I'm Darren McBreen for InfoWars Nightly News. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Darren. Great job. Look, the great part about this being my news program, I'm the news director, I'm the head of Infowars.com, is that I can just stop the news and make a comment. And I want to tell you a brief story here before we go to break and come back with Richard Gage. I have a friend who is high level at the Austin airport in public relations. I'll just leave it at that. And this was like 4 years ago. He was visiting his brother at a local TV station. I was over there. And he came in and he said, get the news on because it's about to air. And he goes, I guarantee you that I watched them interview 40 plus people and they were all against the newest type, abuse that the TSA was involved in, taking your belt off, your shoes off, being patted down. That was before they went in the pants. And he said everybody said they hated it and would rather face the danger or it was fake or 9/11 was an inside job. Everyone until one old woman, and this was News 8 Austin at the time. It's now Your News Now. It's a Time Warner local news thing. And he said one old lady said she loved it. And he knew because he was there with them. He said, that's a wrap. And they turned the camera off, slammed the tripod together. They were there for an hour trying to get people to talk to him. Every one of them hated it, and they found one woman to be politically correct who groveled for the police state. Now, we don't do that here. We, every week, sometimes twice a week, send out our reporters to do this man on the street. We're only, we've done 5-6 shows now. We've already done it 3 times. And we put almost everybody in there. If somebody's incoherent and can't string a sentence together, they're cut. The one person that we basically cut out of this was the guy who was incoherent and said that he believed the official story. But I'm telling you, he believed it. It's just that he gibbered and had trouble talking. Some of the folks also that think it's an inside job were kind of long-winded, so we cut them out as well. But 15 people